A look now at social media and how to measure it. We're very pleased to be joined in the studio by Mazen Nahawi, who is the Managing Director for Media Watch here in the Middle East. That's a media monitoring company. Mazen, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you guys have just launched a new media monitoring service, and this one's a little bit different for two reasons. Number one, it's measuring social media for companies, and number two, it's doing so in Arabic in terms of English. Why have you decided to do this? What's the market for this?
There's a huge market. I think social media is one of the most important social phenomenon we've seen in the Arab world in centuries. For the first time, Vox Populi is a reality for us in our region. And I think you're going to find the dynamics of life for every Arab citizen throughout our region changing. So whether you're looking at it from a commercial perspective or from a family perspective or from a business perspective or from a governmental perspective, social media is changing the way we live. And if you're a company or a government, you want to know about it and you want to measure it.
How does the monitoring tool actually work? I mean, it seems to me to be a vast task. It's one thing to count column inches in newspapers, but to include, tens of millions of social media conversations and tweets and blogs and Facebook entries, I don't even know where you'd start.
Well, we think we know where to start, and we hope we have it right. I think we're looking at trying to make sure that we're using the right kind of technology to capture particular keywords which lead us to the right kinds of conversations. We also use technology to try to measure volume and traffic. Where are people going? And make sure that by having an idea of popularity of particular social media platforms and by identifying the valid conversations which are most important, you can filter through the clutter and drill down to what's most important.
Well, some people say that social networking media are not appropriate for business. I mean, hence the name social. And many companies in the downturn have been limiting the use thereof. Why are you so confident that social networking sites will even have a part to play in business in a couple of years' time?
I think they've already had a big impact on business and on government as well. Why am I confident that they're important? Because, as I mentioned earlier, when your audiences, your stakeholders, whatever kind of name you want to give them, the people who you are targeting, serving, or governing are in fact talking and speaking back, you have to pay attention. If you are a Procter or a Nestle and people are talking about your product or creating a club or a forum about your product, then you want to know about it and measure it. If you're a government and you're finding people criticizing policy, a big change for our region, again, you want to know about it and be able to react.
To a degree, but companies have been limiting use simply because they know employees waste a lot of time on personal issues as well, disguised as work stuff. But the more that the social networking sites become used as a customer support tool and a customer relationship management tool, the less appeal it's going to have as a genuine new social networking site. It then just simply becomes a CRM tool.
I disagree. I don't think it's only a CRM tool. I think you can find social media monitoring, evaluation, and measurement and across the department tool. For example, in HR, you want to find out who is on social media while they're in the office or outside of the office. Let me not name any names, but say you're in the hospitality, aviation, or leisure sector. You're often going to find HR departments having members of their staff unwittingly talking about a product launch or a service which is confidential while they're inviting their friend to go out to a drink. If you're a chief information officer, you have great opportunity to measure and look at product development being driven by social media platforms and people commenting on how they like or dislike a particular product or service. So it's certainly across an organizational level, not only from a CRM point of view.
So you're listening to what customers are saying about you that they wouldn't necessarily say to you in some ways?
Yes.
How do you do this in Arabic? I mean, this is one of the other things I thought must be really tricky for you guys, because you've got, particularly if on different websites, people using a lot of different spellings for different Arabic words, and if you're doing keyword searches like you said, there must be a lot of variance there.
There are many variants. There are an infinite number of variants. I mean, I think we're in a position where you are seeing an amazing historic shift where the young generation of Arabs is in fact creating its own language on the internet. They are using Latin script languages, Latin script letters modified with numbers to pronounce the ha and the kha and the da. And Mustafa Kemal of Turkey tried to do that with the Turkish people. It took 20 years and lots of prisonings and jailings and killings. Arab linguists are going to be tossing in their graves because the young generation is creating a modern Arab language, and that's fascinating. And we consider that part of Arabic social media monitoring because we need to do both that and the Arabic script. But to be more technical in my response, and I'll try to keep it as simple as I possibly can, what we need to do is make sure that we're recording and capturing every possible variant of major conversations and keywords, such as the name Muhammad, which has 27 major variants. So we want to make sure our systems have all of the variants plugged in to capture them from any conversation which might be happening.
So who or what is your target market? Is it corporate or personal, or is it and the demographics?
Initially, for commercial reasons, we're trying to go after the people who have the budget and the focus and diligence to make sure that they are tracking this on a regular basis. That particularly means governmental entities which have a municipal role, whether they're in transportation, immigration, security, and so on, or commercial entities who want to be closer to their customers and what their customers are saying. In the long term, I hope that social media monitoring and measurement will be something available for everybody. If you're a student and you're doing research, you can be able to buy into it at low cost, and ultimately it will be something which is available to everybody, commercial and on an individual basis.
Well, I understand you've already got a couple of dozen customers using this. I mean, what industry sectors do they fall into?
2/3 of our customers right now are government, and they are mainly in municipal services. People, particularly like the RTA and so on. I don't want to go and name every single one of them. They can speak on behalf of the product on their own. But people who are running municipal programs for government have been our best responsive market so far. And then you have your scattered group of people in commercial entities, aviation, technology, automotive. And Media Watch as a whole, we have, well over 1,000 retainer customers in all forms of monitoring, whether it's in print and television and radio. We feel that over time we'll be able to convert a good number of them to social media.
And what are those customers finding out is being said about themselves, their products, their services out there in social media? Are they surprised by some of the results they're getting back?
Some of them are very surprised by what they're getting back, especially the governmental entities, which might not necessarily are not necessarily used to hearing from the public on a regular basis, and maybe not used to hearing harsh criticism articulated in ways which may be personally offensive. Commercial entities are more used to it, and you have a different kind of character managing the communications campaigns over there, and they're not surprised, but they're finding the data very useful.
I think one of the key things that stands out for me on this is that from the provision side, for those people writing blogs, sending tweets, etc., you've got to know that everything is being monitored around the world now, and it could actually cost you your job. You've got to be very, very careful about what you say in the open environment.
Correct. You have to be careful about what you say. But it also is showing that you need to be grounded in some kind of ethical backbone. You need to have some kind of character. You need to believe in what you're saying. Whether you're a corporate who's participating in these conversations, or if you're a member of the public talking back. I think even though this is an amazing tool which is changing our life, too many people are overestimating the value of their opinions. And I think if you find people talking nonsense and rubbish, their credibility will go down. So the trick for a company like us when it comes to measurement is finding out who the influencers are. People who have credibility, who've actually shown that they can say and do things which are important.
Mazen Nahawi, Managing Director, Media Watch Middle East, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.